to episode 20 of the Zazu podcast. My name is Caroline. I'm coming to you from Utrecht in the Netherlands, and this is my podcast. As always, you can find me on Instagram as WOL_box. You can find me on Ravelry as WOLBOX, as well as the Ravelry group for this podcast, which is the Zazu podcast group. Just enter that in the search bar for the groups. And you can find my hand-dyed yarn on Etsy, which is Zazu Yarns. First of all, thank you all for all the great comments you gave me on my last video, my coming back video. Like I said, the day after recording, I was leaving for Berlin, but actually the day I uploaded the video was the day I was leaving for Berlin, because I, again, had some computer problems. So I actually uploaded it like 2 hours before we left. So I got to read all of your comments while we already got there, or when we got there. So most of the comments I read in bed the next morning, Thursday morning. And thank you all very much for those, because I was really feeling like an elephant, and I read all the comments on YouTube below the video, and all the comments in the group, and everyone that messaged me through Ravelry with a private message, and everyone said that I looked really good, and I don't know, that I didn't look like an elephant. So Sif was still asleep, and I was jumping out of the bed, looking in front of the mirror like, am I really not that elephanty like I feel I am, or whatever. I don't know, that's not a word, elephanty, but whatever. So he woke up with this crazy pregnant woman dancing around the mirror. So thank you very much for those comments, because they actually made my day, and I woke up with the biggest smile ever since weeks. So yay. Next to that, thank you for all the tips on yarn shops in Berlin, because I didn't know where to go. A few of you commented, why not ask Molly from A Homespun House? And I really don't know why I didn't think of that myself, really. Because I do watch her podcast, and I do have to say I have to catch up on her podcast, because, well, things have been hectic around here. But I just didn't think of that. So I did message her when I was already in Berlin that Thursday. And unfortunately, I didn't get a message back, so I think she didn't see my message. But I got another great tip, which was from Chaos in Wonderland. There she is again. She was also the one that, one of the two people that actually finished the shawl for the knit-along, if you remember. And she said she saw Buck Vossen's vlog, who is a Dutch knitter. I don't know if her vlog, I don't really watch her vlog. I don't know if that is in English or not, so please tell me, because if it is, it might be interesting for you as well. But she watched that, and she also went to Berlin, and she found a yarn shop that was really nice. So I looked it up on her Instagram, and I went there. I also went to another place, which Beautiful yarn, but it was just not what I was looking for. They had a lot of these, I think it's Ito with the cones. They have these cones, yarn on these cones, and I think it's Ito yarn. They had a lot of that, but I really didn't know what to make with that, and I was actually looking for just, I don't know, something simple but hand dyed. So like a sock yarn, a merino sock yarn or whatever, just a soft yarn that, well, I could make whatever out of. You know, sock yarn, you can use it for sweaters, you can use it for socks, but you can also use it for hats, or and I like that. And they had some hand-dyed yarn, I have to say. I don't know what the name of the shop was. I think it was Wollen Berlin, but that could also be the shop I went to, so I'm going to check which shop I actually... Oh, see? The shop I actually bought something and was, and the shop I, well, Cook Vosse recommended in her vlog, or what I found on Instagram, is the shop where that's called Wollen Berlin. So I don't know what the other name of the name of the other shop was. I'm sorry, you guys. So I'm going to have to look that up if anyone is interested. Berlin was great. What do I have to say about that? We went to the Jewish Museum, which was really interesting. We did bring the wheelchair. I guess I told you about that. I didn't really need it, only the first day, a little bit. But it actually went so well that the next day I said, just leave it here, and if we need it, we'll just go back and get it. And we were staying in the apartment of my brother's girlfriend, because my brother lives there, but he's not a knitter, so he couldn't help me with the yarn shops. So he's been living there for about 2.5, 3 years, something like that. And we could stay in her apartment, which was really nice, of course. So we left the wheelchair there, and we didn't actually have to pick it up. So that was great. I do have to say that, unfortunately, the whole pelvic issue came back after that, so we were just really lucky in Berlin. So right now I'm sitting on some kind of special pillow, cushion, whatever, and I don't know if it helps. I don't know. I mean, I'm doing all these things, and still yesterday I was doing some grocery shopping, and these old people who were way beyond their 80s were looking at me like, whoa, she is not walking very well. So I just hold on to my cart and that's how I do my stuff. So I'm just over for 34 weeks now. So in my 35th week, which means about 6 weeks to go. So, counting down, I guess. I wouldn't mind if the baby boy would be a week early or so, but we can't really do anything about that, right? So I'm just gonna have to wait patiently, and I'm not that patient, but whatever. We'll just have to do that. It's a new challenge. Just a little sip of my tea, which is licorice, which is my favorite. Oh, and I know that licorice is not recommended when you're pregnant because of your blood pressure and stuff, but my blood pressure has been so low the entire pregnancy that they actually recommended me drinking stuff like this, so I wouldn't fall down all the time. So I can do this. Yeah, that's about it before I continue to whips. I do have one thing to say, because I remembered telling you guys something about a big event back in December, and I didn't really tell you what it was because I was supposed to tell you later and I didn't come back. The big event was Stitches West. My yarn was actually at Stitches West, and I didn't tell you, so it's kind of stupid, but that's that's how it is. I don't know if any of you went to Stitches West. If so, please let me know. Post it in the Ravelry group for this episode, the thread for this episode 20. But my yarn was actually in the Altered Stitch booth. They contacted me like way back and asked me if I wanted to participate and well, put my yarn, send my yarn all the way to the US and have it in their booth. So I said yes, of course. So that's what we did. And I still really actually don't know what they sold. I do know that they sold quite a bit, but I don't really know which skeins they sold. So, or which ones you bought. So I'm going to have to see, because the rest of the yarn, it has been shipped back like a few days ago to my house, my new house. So I'm going to have to, it's just a surprise what will be in the box. And I do plan on doing that again next year. So if anyone thinks, oh, bummer, I missed that, and I would have loved to see some in real life, then just go there next year, and probably my yarns will be there again. I hope so. Then it's just time for me to tell you all about what I have been knitting on. I actually didn't knit in Berlin. I thought I would, but there's so much to do over there. You can't just knit. I don't know. I just didn't do it. So, what have I been working on? First of all, last time I showed you the flex sweater I was working on in the Crazy Yarn. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you already saw this. I ripped it out. It was just not really, I don't know. I didn't really feel good about it or whatever. And I was like, if I don't feel good about it now already, then why knit the whole sweater and then not wear it? It was this sweater. You might have seen that. And this is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits, which you will be able to find on Ravelry. I will post some short show notes from now on in the group, in the Ravelry group, in the episodes thread in the Ravelry group, and also below this video on YouTube, so you can find some links to patterns like these. They will not be really big or whatever, really, I don't know how you say that, but it will be just some links so you can find whatever I'm talking about quicker. So I ripped that out. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yarn. Some people suggested socks or shawls or whatever, but I bought 3 skeins of that yarn, so I really want to knit a sweater of some kind out of it because, well, I have 3 skeins, so it would be a little bit of a bummer to, I don't know, you know what I mean, right? If you have 3 skeins of one color, you just, I don't know. I don't have a lot of hand-dyed yarn in more than 2 or 3 skeins of the same colorway. So I'm always like, the single skeins I can use to make like these small garments, socks, or garments, like these accessories, whatever, socks or shawls or whatever. And when I have more than 2 skeins or 2 skeins, I like to make a garment. But I think I'm just going to leave that for now and come back to the yarn later. I don't have to knit a sweater right away, right? So that's that. Then I'm just going to grab something. And the first thing is this baby sweater. And I didn't do anything on this. Why? Well, as you can see, I finished the bottom, which was also finished last week. I used the needles, or actually started using the needles without thinking about it, in another project, which I will show in a minute. So I could screw them off because they're interchangeable, but I was like, this is a pretty big size, so the baby will not wear this in the first few months. So it's not really a problem to leave this as it is for a bit and first finish the thing I started with the needles. And this is knit out of my own hand-dyed yarn in the 50 Shades of Brown colorway. The thing I started, because if you rip something out, you have to start something new, right? I mean, that's logic, is a featherweight cardigan. Yay! So this is where I am. This is the back. And I'm knitting this out of my, also my hand-dyed yarn, Zazu Yarns, in the Roses and Wine colorway. And I just took 2 skeins for myself. And I hope that will be enough to knit a nice sweater, or a nice cardigan. But this is the front, as you can see. And this is what the ball looks like. And I didn't cake this up with my new winder because when I was winding this, I didn't have the new winder yet. So I just did it by hand. And this is what it looks like in a skein yarn. And then here is the pattern, so you can see what it's going to look like. So it's the, obviously it's the blue cardigan here. I do want to make it a little longer for myself because I'm pretty tall. I don't know what I am in feet, I think you guys use, but I'm 180 in meters, so this would be a belly button height thing, which just doesn't work for me. And I am hoping to have enough yarn left to make the sleeves a little bit longer. So if you see, I would like them a little bit longer, maybe full length, but I don't know if I'm going to actually have enough yarn for that. I do plan on wearing that in Italy. We will be going to Italy again, to my parents' house, when the baby's born, when he's about 6 or 7 weeks old. I don't know if I told you this in the last episode, but now I am. And so I thought that would be a nice summery sweater to just wear over some simple white thing, or I don't know, soft pink dress, or I don't know. I just thought it would be nice, and it was a nice colorway to knit that out of. And if you paid attention, I just don't know what I tell you guys every time. So you just have to bear with me, because my mind, I forget everything. But I was knitting that sweater, which was called, I don't know anymore. I told you about it last time, I'm sure. The hooded sweater thing with that yarn in it, where I made a mistake. Well, that's where the yarn comes from, so I also ripped that out. But I already told you that I was going to rip that out, so that's not really news. Then I worked on Seep's sweater, because that has to be finished at least before autumn, winter comes, and you know, I'm not always that fast with so many projects. Oops, sorry. So I worked on it quite a bit. This is it. I'm trying to get it in such a way that you can actually see a little bit better. So that's the front. This is the front. These are the sleeves, and you can see that I did the 4 stitches of purls in between, just in the middle of the sleeve, because I thought that would be nice. So from, what is that called again? I'm doing this every week. I'm going to do this every week. From, I don't know, from the top to the cuff of the sleeve, there will be this line in reversed stockinette. This is the back, and that's a little bit longer because there was some short row shaping for the back to make sure that, well, you don't have the, you know what I mean, that the back neck thing is here, and in the front you're not choking. Great, my talking is great, guys. So that makes for this in the front, so you can see that the back is higher than the front. So this is where I am. I actually already used up 1 ball of yarn, as you can see here. And this is what is left of the second ball, so I already have to grab a third one in, well, not that many rows, I think. This yarn is by Drops, and it's called, I'm sorry, I'm just going to check this, because yes, it's this Merino Extra Fine, which is perfect for Seep because he loves warm stuff for winter, but he hates the idea of itchy wool. So this is really, really soft. And I think I have about 14 or 16 balls of it. It's 15 grams, 50 grams per ball. And they say to use a 4mm needle, but I am using 3.5, I guess, or 3. And now I don't know. Maybe I told you last time. It's 3 or 3.5, so I had a little bit of a tighter gauge, and since this is going to be a pretty big sweater, what normally happens if you wash these big sweaters, especially when they're for men, the yarn or the bottom really weighs the whole thing down, and that even happens more when the gauge is looser. So I just thought I'd make it a little bit more tight so it's not going to go in so many directions. And this is superwash yarn, so it will grow. It will probably grow. So I was just like, a little bit tighter would be okay. If you're interested, the color of the yarn is number 5, and this is the light gray mix color. So that's that, and this is really cheap yarn, so always nice to knit a simple sweater out of, or whatever, if you do not have the finances to get yourself some expensive or more expensive hand-dyed yarn. Then I have been working on my socks. Oh yes, I have. And actually, this is pretty funny. I showed you this sock last week, which I can put on a blocker right now because I have a blocker here, so then you can see it even better. So this is a sock, which I'm really pleased with. And the second sock, I was working on the first bits last week. And this is actually how far I got. So I put the heel in, and I'm actually almost, I think I am 10 rows from decreasing for the toe. And then this happened. I ran out of yarn. And that's totally my own fault because I snatched a skein from my shop, because this is knit out of Zazu Yarns in the unicorn poo colorway. My mind. And I took off 2 mini skeins of that skein to gift to people. So I wound off 2 mini skeins, and as you can see, I'm actually like maybe not even 1 mini skein short, because 10 rows and then just, so it's just this small of a, I don't know, it's just this small what I needed to knit still on this sock. So I'm going to have to sacrifice another skein of this yarn for minis and grab myself 1 mini out of that and finish the sock. But it was a bummer because I know a lot of, you see this quite often in podcasts, that people playing yarn chicken, and they always have this tiny bit left and then it worked. Well, I was doing the same thing, and obviously it did work. And the funny thing is, whenever that happens, I don't know why that is, but I knit faster and faster, so I think I will knit so fast that the ball of yarn has no time to become smaller because I knit so fast, which is the most stupid thing ever, but for some reason I do that. I don't know if you guys do that, but it's pretty weird. So I'm just going to have to do that. But I was a little bit bummed because I was like, yay, I'm going to finish these and I'm going to show them to you as a finished object, because then you guys would be like, whoa, what happened? She finished a pair of socks for the first time in this entire podcast, I think. Which didn't happen. But then I thought, we are going to make this happen. You remember the other pair of socks I was working on last week. So I was like, we have to finish them. There is no buts. I just have to do that. So I'm going to put them on a sock blocker as well. Because, yes, you are about to witness my my first finished pair of socks in this entire podcast. Yay! There's the first one. And this is the second one. Yay, I have something to put on both of my feet. And it looks the same. It's not like one sock from one pair and one sock from the other. As you can see, I do have to weave in the ends. But I think I can call this finished for my, for the way I finish things normally. I think this is pretty finished. So I'm really happy. And actually, the fun thing was about this whole knitting socks is that I actually think it went faster and faster once I just knit on them. Because at first, after last time I recorded, I put them away and just worked on Seep Sweater and on the other stuff I was working on. And I was like, oh my god, I showed these 2 pairs of socks. And I showed my box of socks, which was empty, for the knit along from Kristen from Woolbomix, or from Yarngasm podcast. And I was like, oh my god, now I have to actually finish them, because otherwise I will be this really stupid person again on my own podcast. So I was actually bummed that I showed you guys, but then I thought, okay, come on, let's do this. We'll work on the unicorn poo socks, as I call these, because they're made out of my unicorn poo yarn. And I actually liked working on them. And time flew by really fast. I mean, as I said, I didn't knit in Berlin, so the reason I didn't even tell you guys this, the reason I didn't podcast last week, because I did intend to, was because the contractor stopped by here and did all this work in the house, so there was a lot of noise and I had to help out quite a bit, and so I couldn't podcast. And right after Berlin, I didn't really have anything to show you anyway, but so I actually knit for, I actually knit again for a week, because I was in Berlin, and after that doing all these things on the house. So, I think I actually did quite a bit. Well, not compared to many others, but you know what I mean. But I finished them. I was pretty surprised when I was kitchenering. I don't know if that's, we could make a verb out of that, right? So I was kitchenering this toe last night, and I was like, I'm going to show these finished. So yay! these will be the first ones in my box of socks. And then I have another, at least another 11 pairs to go in this year. So I'm going to have to cast on new ones, obviously. But before I do, I first want to do some other stuff. So those were my whips and my 1FO. So what am I planning on doing next? I want to make some bluebirds of happiness for the nursery. We are actually getting a lot of stuff for the nursery and for the baby from family that already have, sorry for that, it's all shaky. We're actually getting a lot of stuff from family for the baby that they don't need anymore because they all have kids and they are not planning on having other babies. So that's really great. But some things, obviously, you want to make more of your own, or I don't know, maybe adjust to the style you have. So one of the things we're getting is this mobile thing to put above the crib, or the, I don't know if you use box, or if you call it like that, you know, the thing you can put in your living room where you can lay the baby down in and later lower the floor where they can stand and play with stuff. We call it a box. I don't know what you call it, or if you even use it. But you can put that above it, and it has a little music thing in it, and then those things start to go around, and it has all these fluffy things hanging down from it. And it's really nice one, but it's not really in the style of our nursery, or, well, it's not really. So I thought, let's get all the stuffies that are on there off and put some bluebirds of happiness on them. And then the look totally changes, of course. So that's what I'm planning on doing, and maybe making a few more to just hang down the wall, because I also bought 2 of these cross-stitch things to put on the wall. So I'm thinking of doing that. And I obviously will show you the cross-stitch things when I finish them as well. If you like to see that. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I might show you the nursery when it's all done. It's not really done right now. The theme is a little bit, we have these 2 walls painted in some sort of minty green. I think I already told you this or not. I don't know. And it's some sort of Scandinavian style thing, so the rest is all this light wood and white, and then some accents with blue and, well, stuff like that, and a big chair to feed the baby in. And one super cute detail is that the crib I have is actually the crib I was in when I was a baby, and actually my father as well. So it's a really old crib that runs in the family, and I don't know if you say run in the family, but we pass it on, and every generation something gets broken and someone fixes it again, and some new fabric on it and whatever, but it's a really cute crib. If you want to see the nursery, please let me know. Then I might make a small video when it's done, and it should be done in about a few weeks. But we still have some, well, we still have to do, I don't know how you call them. I think it's plinth. We still have to do the plinths because they have to be painted. And if you're wondering what that thing is, that's also a plinth. Maybe you also say a board, sideboard. Well, I don't know. I think you know what I mean. This is also a plinth. All the other ones are already mounted to the wall. But this one is waiting to be mounted because they ran out of the kit stuff, which is always really, I think that's really surprising if you go to a house and you know that you have like so many meters of this to do, and this is the work you do all the time. I'd say you just have a bus full of this the stuff, you know. But whatever, I don't really care. I just don't care. I don't care anymore. All the big stuff has been done. We have a new door. We have all these things in the kitchen are finished now. The biggest things are done now, so no more people coming into my house and bringing saws and stuff and making everything all dusty again. So we can actually keep it clean now, which is nice. The other thing I'm obviously planning on knitting is the large version of my new shawl pattern, which I didn't name yet. I don't know when this pattern will be out because I have stuff to do, and as I said, I only have about 6 weeks before the baby comes, maybe even just 4, which is possible, of course. I already have 2 friends that gave birth at the 38-week mark, so I have to, you know, plan some stuff. And obviously finish the nursery, which is a priority now, and do some curtains as well and stuff. So the new shawl pattern, I don't know when it will be finished exactly, but ASAP. Then I'm actually, oh no, I didn't show you what I bought in Berlin at the store. So I'm going to show you. So I went to Wollen Berlin. This is their card. And I was actually looking for speckled yarn. I don't know what's going on, but I wanted speckled yarn. So it came in this cute bag. All you need is love. I bought myself this stuff, which is Moya, and it's 100% cotton. It would be nice if it would actually focus. And it's all speckly with all these tones of blue and brownish and lavender-ish. And the colorway is called Snowdrops. And it's a 50-gram ball, 135 meters. Needle size 3 to 4 millimeter, and I got myself two balls of that. It was actually kind of funny. Super lame again. I'm making all these lame jokes now. Maybe you already think like, yeah, that's what you do all the time. They're never really good, but whatever. So I bought 2 balls of that, and that's actually all I bought. That's not really actually all I bought, but that's all I bought yarn-wise. And that's pretty weird. I thought it was pretty weird, because normally when I go to a yarn store, I'm like, oh my god, I have to watch my budget. My entire bank account will be empty after this. And for some reason, I really like this, and I thought I could knit a baby cardigan vest sweater out of this, because it's pretty soft cotton. So that's actually my plan with that. And since I was like, I have so many projects still on the needles, and I actually have a lot of yarn, nothing really said take me home with you other than this yarn. And since I was actually also looking for the really speckled yarns, but I couldn't really find anything in a sock yarn or a merino yarn, or anything I would like to knit a shawl out of or whatever, I was like, then I'm not going to buy anything else, because I have a lot of variegated yarns and tonal yarns already. So I'm just going to wait and see what I come across maybe here in Holland, because I do know one shop that has really nice yarn and a lot of speckled yarn. So I was like, I think I would be happier if I buy a bit of yarn from that shop instead of just taking something or buying something now because I feel like buying something. So that's what I did. And then I also bought 4 of these buttons to put on the vest, this vest, or the other vest. Doesn't really matter. But it's finished, and it's wood, and I bought 4 of them, I guess. Yes, 4 of them. So I thought, then I already have some buttons to put on whatever garment I knit the baby. Because I already showed you the sweater I am working on needs some buttons. The gray cardigan I showed you last time needs buttons. So I was like, we'll see on which of those garments they will go, but then I at least have a few I like. My tea is already getting cold. The larger version of my new shawl pattern, I'm planning on knitting that in my Magic Dust colorway, and then using a contrast color for the border. That's all I can say about planned stuff. And then the only thing that's left to tell you or show you is what I have been dyeing again. And while I'm recording this, I have not done a shop update yet, but I will do that this week. So there's a really good chance that when you're watching this, you can actually see the yarns I'm going to show you in the shop. So visit the shop and you will see. But at least by the end of this week, there will be new yarn in my shop. So first of all, I dyed quite a bit of seashell because that is a really nice summery color. and it looks a little bit different on screen, as always, but what can you do? So I dyed that, which is also, I only dyed on my sock base this time because I think it's a really great, soft, squishy base to make things for summer out of. And I don't know, it's really nice. I do have to say that I also have a little bit of a new base, which is a lace base. And I think I will be doing, because I don't have a lot of that, I think I will be doing some kind of pre-order thing for that, just to see who's interested, and I don't know, but I will think of that, or how I'm going to do that later, and tell you guys. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. If you're interested in a lace base, and if so, what colorway, whatever, just tell me. The second colorway I dyed up is the Roses and Wine colorway, which I really love, and as you already saw, it knits up really cute. I think it's a little bit speckly. It's all these different shades of, I don't know, brownish, reddish. It's wine. I don't know. You saw it. Then I have two new colorways, one of which you already saw. The first one is this one, which is called Moroccan Mint, which is a really nice summer colorway, I think. It's tonal, so it has these different shades of mint green, and well, I think it's really lovely. Perfect for shawls, also perfect for cardigans, like the featherweight cardigan I'm knitting now. And then the fourth colorway I dyed up, which is also a new one, is called Roberto Gelato, because I think it's a really ice creamy colorway. It has these peachy colors, but also a little bit of a, I don't know how you call that. It has all these different shades of some kind of orangey, pinky, peachy, I don't know, you can see it. Some parts are lighter, some parts are a little bit darker. As you can see, it's all these different shades in there. And the reason I call it Roberto Gelato is because that's a ice cream shop really close to my house, which is the best ice cream shop in the entire Netherlands. And it's run by Roberto, who is Italian. And since, you know, we go to Italy a lot, and my parents have their house there, I thought it was a really appropriate name. So that's why. So those are the colors I dyed up, and obviously if you are missing a colorway or whatever, you can always send me a message and I can dye something up for you in a custom order. But please just go to the shop and check for these yarns or other yarns when you see this. And then that's all I had to say, I guess. Yeah. There's a big chance I'm forgetting stuff, but I already told you I'm pregnant. I'm forgetting stuff all the time, so if you have questions or you want to know something else, or I don't know, suggestions, just visit the Ravelry group or post in below the video, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So, have a really nice week, and I hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!